Part 39. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 381. What the hell is endless karmic fire? While Yabai was throwing a shield and healing for himself, he looked at Arhat with an unkind look on his face. The endless karma fire will burn 600,000 damage per second. Yabai himself has a certain damage reduction, and with over 10 million HP, there is no need to worry about his life for the time being. But how could Yabai be in a good mood after somehow stealing a debuff for himself? Due to the skill characteristics of stealing fire, the duration of the stolen buff can be increased by 10 times. The original 36 years of endless karmic fire were super doubled and turned into 360 years. Not to mention burning it to ashes, directly burning the relics for Yabai. I didn't expect that Jiu Donor actually got the endless karma fire. It's so weird. Arhat did not show off and explained seriously to everyone. The poor monk is burned by the endless fire of karma day and night. The original intention is to share some of the fire of karma with all sentient beings to avoid suffering in the future. After seeing the introduction of the effect of endless karmic fire, Huo Tian smiled crookedly. Well done, Shura. Yabai rolled his eyes and ignored Huo Tianyi's sarcasm. He looked at Luhan and spoke again. Being burned by fire for 36 years must have some benefits, right? Indeed. Arhat nodded and asked. Cultivation Donor, are you willing to enter my Buddhist door? No. No. Before Yabai could reply, Sun Li and Huo Tianyi spoke one after another and directly refused on Yabai's behalf. Sun Li said first. Azura, if you escape into Buddhism, I will shave my head and become a monk on the spot, and I will become your junior brother. Yabai. You are threatening me. Do you think I'm scared? Sorry, I'm really a little scared. Yabai thought about it carefully. Sun Li would be his junior brother. His luck was so scary. So scary. Huo Tianyi was much more calm and sneered. Those bald donkeys in Buddhism are all poor people. Baldy, are you going to scold me again? Arhat tried to defend himself by saying, actually, Buddhism is quite rich. Gone. Huo Tianyi said seriously. After Wuhan entered the Eternal Temple, he made a special trip to the Western Heaven you mentioned. I didn't take the scriptures, but I brought back all the Buddhist information. In fact, it was by relying on the supplies that Wuhan collected in the Eternal Temple to replenish the blood of the human race that the human race had enough energy to counterattack the abyss. Arhat Buddha sang, and when he heard the news, he was neither happy nor sad. Taking it from all living beings and using it for all living beings is wonderful. Venerable Wuhan's Buddha Dharma is perfected by nature, and he has a predestined relationship with me, the Buddha. Everyone. I have seen shameless people, but I have never seen such shameless people. Even if Huo Tianyi didn't tell the specific details, Yabai could guess it. With the second brother's bad temper, most of the money was borrowed. As for whether to pay it back or not, it depends on the mood of the second brother. Buddhism has been robbed, but Arhat can still say that Buddhism is perfect and boast that it is traceless, which is an eye-opener for everyone. Based on this sentence alone, the road is too wide. In short, Buddhism is very poor now and has no money or water to scrape. Huo Tianyi sneered again and again. Also, Shura, please think clearly. If you escape into Buddhism and your 6 roots are pure, you will not be able to touch money in this life. A sure kill, no solution. With these words alone, Huo Tianyi felt that he was sure of victory and that the opponent had no chance of coming back. If Shura is not allowed to touch the money, it is better to kill him directly. Buddhism really pays attention to the purity of the 6 roots and does not touch yellow and white things. Arhat nodded and agreed with Huo Tianyi's statement. He turned to look at Yabai and said sincerely. If the donor is willing to join Buddhism, it can be changed. Yabai. Playing such a big game? Huo Tianyi thought he was the winner, but who knew he was actually killed in reverse. This monk is not a good person. After several confrontations, Huo Tianyi discovered that he did not get any advantage at all, and even suffered a heavy loss. Arhat set his posture low enough. Ye Bai still didn't think about it, shook his head and refused. Master, it's better to dispense with it. Arhat blinked, not surprised by this answer, but inevitably a little curious. Can you tell the poor monk why this is so? Ye Bai was not embarrassed at all, he showed his cards and said. Join Buddhism and become one of our own. The relationship is too familiar and it's not easy to plunder the wool. Ye Bai has suffered a lot in this matter. Originally, Master Ju was staying well, and Ye Bai could rub Shadow's wool from time to time. As a result, Master Ju ran away and left the mess to Ye Bai. Now not only can't harvest wool, Ye Bai also has to spend tens of billions to subsidize Yingduo Duo. Where can I go to reason? Therefore, when it comes to harvesting wool, you must follow the 3 no principles like a scumbag. No initiative, no refusal, no responsibility. The time has not yet come. Arhat did not continue the topic and explained for Ye Bai. When endless karma fire is around, it won't do any good. When the endless karma fire disappears, the Buddhist disciples will receive a share of merit, which can be used to improve their strength. As for the donor, if he endures endless karma for a year is too long. Ye Bai interrupted Luhan. Endless karmic fire is the state of stolen fire. The next time Ye Bai uses stolen fire, this state will be lifted. At the same time, within 1 year, Ye Bai had already become the god of war, even stronger. In 3 days, in addition to the above rewards, you can learn the skill endless karmic fire. May I ask Master, how many years have you endured the endless fire of karma? It is impossible for him to go to the abyss with the debuff of endless karma fire. What benefit can there be from separation within 3 days of enduring the endless fire of karma? Arhat smiled lightly and shook his head. 3 days later, Ye Bai will go with the team to the 9th abyss. After listening to Arhat's introduction, Ye Bai nodded in greeting. After the poor monk escaped into Buddhism, he was burned by the fire of endless karma. To this day, I don't know how many years have passed. Ye Bai took the initiative and asked. Arhat muttered. Settlement in progress. Let's talk about something practical. It's over now, and there's no need for everyone to stay any longer. 3 days, Ye Bai only had 3 days. Arhat saluted everyone and turned to leave. Even if there is merit, it is also the merit of all sentient beings. The 9th abyss held a banquet on the spot, and the great devil could even smile crookedly. There is no need to take credit for merit by bearing the fire of karma for all sentient beings. For 2 days, while gaining the upper limit of blood volume, there is also 15% immunity to fire damage. Withstanding the endless karma fire for 1 day, you can gain a maximum blood volume of 1 million. Thank you, Master. Huo Tianyi frowned slightly, that merit. Ye Bai nodded slowly. But each person can only accept the baptism of endless karma fire once, and there will be no reward for the second time. The longer you persist, the richer the reward will be. After summoning the eternal core crystal, the 3 of them put their palms together and began to calculate the clearance score. Although he fell from level 995 or above, Luohan's mentality was particularly good and he was willing to admit defeat and moved from the temple to the Eternal Core City to fulfill his bet with Sun Li. Luohan shook his head and solved Huo Tianyi's doubts. Congratulations to players Shura, I am the best in the world, and good luck for reaching the 29th level SSSS level evaluation. This monk is a master and can handle everything. It doesn't matter. As for more rewards, Ye Bai could only reluctantly give up. He accidentally killed himself and was cremated on the spot. By that time, even if there were huge benefits, it would be of no use to Ye Bai. Logically speaking, after being burned by the endless fire of karma for so long, this monk should be very fierce. Yabai thought of something and asked. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 382. The moment he heard the server-wide announcement, Yabai glanced at Sun Li helplessly. The other party's eternal ID is good luck comes. Yabai knew it, but couldn't accept it. Where did you get your good luck? Don't you have any idea? Players Shura, I am the best in the world, and good luck pass the 29th floor at SSSS level and will be rewarded with all human race buffs in the Eternal Tower victory at the beginning. Permanent buff Thunder Strike, when the Eternal Tower human race causes damage on the 29th floor, there is a 29% probability of being accompanied by a thunderbolt. Permanent buff Revisit the Old Land. After the human race in the Eternal Tower fails to pass the level, if you try it again, you will get a 10% status improvement. It is limited to the 30th floor and below. Permanent buff Continuous Good Luck, the human race of the Eternal Tower is on the 29th floor, luck value add 2. Permanent buff Victory at the beginning, after the human race clears the 29th floor of the Eternal Tower, they will automatically obtain an S-level equipment that suits their profession. This server-wide announcement is even more intense than yesterday's. Many people rubbed their eyes and couldn't believe what they saw. 4 permanent buffs. Unprecedented. Even though Shura has reached the 29th floor, he has created miracles again and again for nearly a month. The shock that this customs clearance brought to everyone cannot be described in words. As Shura broke through the first 29 floors, the human race continued to obtain powerful buffs, and people who were previously difficult to reach, even the soldiers, broke through one after another. Recently, the combat power test hall has been full every day. Countless soldiers and generals have sprung up like mushrooms after a rain. And the biggest contributor behind this, needless to say, is none other than Shura. For a time, Shura once again topped the list of major websites. The current Shura is like a traffic password. While Shura was getting popular every day, people also noticed the 2 people who broke through the barrier with Shura. I am number 1 in the world, good luck comes. The former is more mysterious, with basically no information, as if it popped out of the cracks in the rocks. And the latter has set off a wave of archaeological craze on the internet. An article handwritten by a century-old war king, after being uploaded to Taoxiao, instantly became popular all over the internet and received hundreds of millions of views. Bringing you closer, good luck comes Sun Li, a strange man who scares the devil. This veteran who has been fighting for 100 years still trembles uncontrollably when writing the 2 words Sun Li. It can be seen how much psychological shadow Sun Li left on people back then. Of course, these matters have nothing to do with Yabai and others for the time being. Although they were in the middle of the storm, they were not affected in any way because they did a particularly good job of keeping their identities secret. After returning to the Eternal Core City, Yabai clapped his hands and felt relaxed. Fortunately, I live up to my fate. He successfully led Sun Li through the 29th floor, extended his life for the opponent, and also earned a 4's rating. If Yabai hadn't stolen endless karma fire, tonight's trip would have been perfect. The moment the 3 people appeared, a man wearing a long gown made of gold silk appeared beside them at the same time. Sun Li in a wheelchair greeted him warmly. Brother, are you still alive? Thanks to you, I'm not dead yet. I can handle some small things for my boss. Zhao Qian had long been accustomed to Sun Li's way of greeting him. Instead of looking at Sun Li, he brought out 2 bowls of water. This is the water soaked in the lucky 40-leaf clover. Drinking it can remove bad luck from your body. Is there such a good thing? Yabai took 2 bowls, drank one and put away the other. Huo Tianyi? What about his? Yabai looked at Huo Tianyi seriously and said deceptively. Heaven is going to entrust this person with a great responsibility, and he must first work hard on his mind and body. Huo Tianyi's face was numb and unwavering, and Ye Bai's words did not touch his heart at all. Huo Tian opened his mouth, translate, translate. Blanche. Xiao Huo actually suffered the disadvantage of being uneducated. Ye Bai rolled his eyes and briefly explained to the other party. After listening, Huo Tianyi was thoughtful. You mean if you want to become a great talent, you have to get beaten more often? Ye Bai. If you understand it this way, it seems to be okay. Huo Tianyi thought about it and realized that he was almost unlucky. Anyway, he was not far from Ye Bai during the day, and bad luck would disturb the people around him. If he could injure the enemy 1,000, even if he could injure himself 100 million, Huo Tianyi would be happy. He likes to see Shuras suffer the most. After drinking the water, Ye Bai did not forget to look at Zhao Qian and asked. Where is the lucky 40-leaf clover and what is the price? Just water soaked in grass can have this magical effect. That lucky 40-leaf clover, how awesome it must be. Zhao Qian pointed at Sun Li helplessly. The only grass he had was fed to the pigs. Ye Bai. Then what did I drink? Zhao Qian quickly explained, it was soaked before, absolutely clean and hygienic. Ye Bai expressed doubts. However, now that it was over, he couldn't say anything more. The rewards for clearing the level will probably take a while. This time the three of us cleared the level in fours together. The third brother may be busy. After Ye Bai finished speaking, he greeted the three of them. I'm going to the sheepfold to find Shui, the wolf's nest, to talk to Shui Meng about something serious. Tonight, Ye Bai suffered a lot, so he continued to look for Shui Meng to remove the wool from his mouth. Before saying goodbye, Ye Bai never forgot to tell Sun Li. Old son, during the time you were frozen, the fifth demon god was a little nervous. Think of a way to trick him. Ye Bai believed that Sun Li had plenty of ways to trick people. The fifth demon. Sun Li was stunned for a moment. He is still alive. He's not dead. You can ask them about other things. Shui Meng ran away when we were late. With that said, Ye Bai turned and left, leaving everyone with the back of a shepherd. Watching Shura's retreating back, Sun Li smiled slightly and waved. When Shura's back disappeared at the corner of the street, Sun Li's smile faded little by little. Although his face was expressionless, he always gave people a very decadent feeling and was particularly sad. Standing up from the wheelchair, Sun Li stretched, looked at Zhao Qian aside, and asked lazily. Brother, is it convenient to talk? Zhao Qian shook his head slightly, took out a gold ingot and threw it on the ground. In an instant, countless gold coins appeared, covering Zhao Qian, Sun Li, and Huo Tianyi. The three of them instantly entered the secret realm of trading, and were enveloped by Zhao Qian's eternal sea. In the entire Eternal Tower, there is only one being who can clearly see what is happening here. Zhao Qian knew very well that the other party would not look at it, at least not now. After doing all this, Zhao Qian nodded. It's convenient now. Huo Tianyi looked at Sun Li with interest. This guy, is he planning to do something wrong again? This kid Sun Li is not only unlucky, but also rotten and full of bad luck. In this regard, Sun Li and Shura are quite similar. There are more and more bad intentions. Sun Li's next words really shocked Huo Tianyi. Sun Li frowned and looked at Zhao Qian, his tone full of doubts. Don't Shura know that he holds the most powerful mark? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 383. Within the trading secrecy. Sun Li's words made Huo Tianyi full of questions. No way. Huo Tian immediately didn't believe Sun Li's judgment. If he holds the mark of the strongest, why is he still such a bad guy? In their generation, Nightmare is recognized as the strongest. There are two main reasons: SSS level talent and the mark of the strongest. Relying on these two things, Nightmare ushered in the first era of supreme power for the human race. Shura is indeed very powerful, but in Huo Tianyi's opinion, there is still a big gap between him and Nightmare. Zhao Qian was not too surprised and nodded slightly. It is indeed possible. I have thought about this before, but I have never had the chance to verify it. Sun Li saw Huo Tianyi's doubts and explained. Lao Ju has been trying to obtain the mark of the strongest since he left the abyss of the strongest. Do you know this? Huo Tian nodded and signaled the other party to continue. Lao Ju didn't dare go to Lan Tiankai to discuss it, and Madman Huo doesn't have a city, so. Sun Li pointed at Zhao Qian and said helplessly. The helper Lao Ju found was him. Us, to be exact. Zhao Qian added. Sun Li used the god's dice to send Yingju to the temple and brought back Ying Yuan. Yingju also used this to collect more information about the mark of the strongest. Huo Tianyi sat on a chair, cracking melon seeds, listening to the two people's descriptions, and nodding from time to time. You'd better not tell Shura what I'm going to say below. Sun Li's face straightened and he said slowly. The most powerful mark is generally divided into three parts, which are called essence, energy, and spirit by nightmares. Only after gathering them all can they be fully activated. The first part, essence, is integrated with the most powerful seed itself and has different forms of expression. Some will be skills, and some will be status, which vary from person to person. You all know how it behaves in nightmares. Wilhen's performance shows almost unlimited potential. All three of them knew this. Wherever Wilhen goes, there is enlightenment. According to what Master Fool said to Ye Bai before, although it is good to understand the Dharma, one must exercise restraint. While Wilhen's own understanding is super strong, he is also supported by the most powerful mark, which allows him to not need to be restrained. Just realize it when you want to, and you won't click anywhere. Hearing this, Huo Tianyi took the initiative to add. Shura has an extremely powerful thunder state, which may be superimposed by his own active release of skills, which can cause extremely high amounts of thunder damage. The first part of the mark of the strongest essence you are talking about, could it be this? Probably. Sun Li nodded and agreed. Nightmare said back then that by entering the Eternal Tower, he would obtain the complete mark of the strongest. Even if the subsequent supreme seeds cannot achieve the level of Nightmare, they should still be able to obtain part of the Xian mark. Huo Tianyi asked. What about the other two parts? The most powerful mark essence is different for everyone. It can also be said that it is exclusive to the most powerful seed. It will be given to you when you enter the Eternal Tower. Sun Li explained. There is only one copy of the most powerful mark, Qi, and the most powerful mark, God in the world. Logically speaking, they should all be in the hands of the most powerful people of our time. Zhao Qian nodded and said affirmatively. The mark of the most powerful God is in the hands of my boss, otherwise, he cannot stay in this world. Then there's only one question left. No matter how stupid Huo Tianyi is, he can still understand what the two of them want to say. Sun Li, do you suspect that Shura has obtained the mark of the strongest Qi? Not a doubt, I'm sure. Sun Li pondered for a moment, without giving his reasons, and then said. Yingju doesn't know the function of the mark of the strongest Qi, and Nightmare has never mentioned it. That's all I know. As he spoke, he clapped his hands to indicate that he had nothing to say. Zhao Qian turned to look at Huo Tianyi and warned seriously. Don't ever tell Shura what we just said. Huo Tianyi rolled his eyes and said disdainfully. When I do things, when will it be your turn to give me advice? Huo Tianyi activated his exclusive skill, Bad Breath. Okay, let's break up. Zhao Qian's sleeves swayed, and the limitations of the surrounding space disappeared little by little. Before leaving the trading secret realm, Huo Tianyi heard Zhao Qian's voice. Even if you really want to tell Shura, you can still sell it for a good price. The corners of Huo Tianyi's mouth curled up slightly, just what I wanted. Wolf Den. Tonight is another sad night. As soon as Ye Bai arrived at the wolf lair, he saw Xuemeng surrounded by beer bottles and his face was full of pain. What's going on here? Ye Bai was shocked. The sheep in his sheepfold were sick. You came. Xuemeng was about to cry but had no tears. He drank a bottle of beer and sighed. I have good news and bad news. Ye Bai opened a bottle of wine and motioned to record it in Xuemeng's account. Then he looked at Xuemeng and listened attentively. The good news is that the 9% my second father has taken from my income over the years has been useless. My second father said that when I get married, he will return this money to me as my lucky money. Ye Bai shook his head after hearing this. It's not embarrassing for a person in his 70s or 80s to still need lucky money. Take out the money quickly and let me, Ye Bai, keep it for you first. What to do if you are targeted by bad guys? Ye Bai calculated in his heart, 9% of Xuemeng's total income, this is not a small sum. Xuemeng still has such a big pile of wool hidden away. Then what? Xuemeng spread his hands and said, it's gone. Gone. 1 gold, no, 1 silver coin. Even if I am caught up in the flames of karma, I have no regrets. This is amazing, how did you do it? In just a few words, the image of Shura in Xuemeng's heart was unexpectedly higher. I can breathe fire without using any skills. Do you believe it? My second father. This endless karma fire was taken from me by an enlightened monk at a huge cost. I don't tell ordinary people about it. Looking at Xuemeng who was gradually taking the bait, Ye Bai smiled slightly. Bearing the endless fire of karma for all sentient beings is my responsibility as the most powerful seed. Only the most sincere and powerful people have the opportunity to carry the endless fire of karma for the common people. In 3 days, this endless fire of karma will leave me. Big Menzi, who do you think I should pass this fire to? Ye Bai smiled slightly and shook his head. Why did Shura burn himself for fun when he had nothing to do? Oh. As he spoke, Ye Bai picked up a glass of strong wine, took a sip and then squirted it out. Whoever took it away, I'll take you to get it back. Is there any way to get it back? You're bullying our most powerful adopted son, no. Ye Bai said mysteriously. Do not believe. Xuemeng. Hearing that such a large sum of money was gone, Ye Bai became angry on the spot. Okay. A fire dragon appeared in the wolf lair. Hiss. Ye Bai sat down and said, that's okay. Big Menzi, don't be downcast. I'll make a bet with you. What's the bet? An illusion, it must be an illusion. Blue banished immortal. Xuemeng looked at Ye Bai and said a name. The person who took away Xuemeng's money was none other than Lan Bangxian. Gone. Xuemeng thought that he had just been bloodlet and could no longer bear the loss. After taking out a silver coin, Xuemeng looked at Ye Bai, his eyes full of curiosity. Xuemeng glanced at Ye Bai and shook his head. Xuemeng thought carefully and said the perfect candidate in his mind. This wave of hints is already very obvious. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 384. My second father. Xuemeng answered seriously. It belongs to be full of filial piety. Ye Bai looked at Xuemeng and nodded slowly. He had indeed seen the right person. This guy has the potential to be a filial son. Fang Tian painted a halberd and followed Xuemeng, which was not a shame. Ye Bai rolled his eyes and said helplessly. De Menzi, don't you have any ambition? Yes, I have. Xuemeng nodded and said seriously. I want to break through to the god of war, oh, I also want to use a sword. These 2 points are what Xuemeng is most motivated to do. Ye Bai asked curiously. Speaking of which, is it so difficult to break through to the heavenly god of war? It's difficult, it's too difficult. Xuemeng thought for a while and explained. Generally speaking, the stronger you are, the harder it is to break through. According to my father and others, it may be more difficult for me to break through to the heavenly god of war than it is for the most powerful person to break through. My dad and the others. These 4 words were only spoken by Xuemeng without any sense of disobedience. Others have peaches and plums all over the world, but Xuemeng's adoptive father is everywhere. In order to verify his statement, Xuemeng also gave an example. For example, Uncle Lan Bangxian. At the same level, he was not weaker than Uncle Huo in all aspects, but because of his talent, it was more difficult for him to step into the realm of the god of war. Having said this, Xuemeng lowered his voice and whispered. Let me tell you, it is said that Uncle Lan has a way to break through to the Tongtian war god. Oh. Ye Bai likes this kind of gossip the most. Spread the word. Xuemeng looked around to make sure there was no danger around, and continued. It's just that this method requires Uncle Huo's cooperation, so, you understand. Ye Bai's expression suddenly became wonderful. Blue Banished Immortal, you are such a big-eyed person, you are still here today. Stuck at level 989, for Lan Bangxian, he will not die. With the help of King Huo Tian, if you pass level 989, you can reach level 999 in one go. This dark history will follow Lan Bangxian for the rest of his life. Even if his strength can suppress Huo Tianwang in the future, the other party will trigger his passive, bad breath. The dark history with solid evidence, coupled with Huo Tianwang's extreme bad breath, The picture was so beautiful that Ye Bai didn't dare to think about it. You have to prepare a video recorder and audio recorder in advance. There are thousands of people in the world, but only Madman Huo can help his nemesis Lan banish the immortal. I have to say, fate plays tricks on people. Judging from the personalities of these 2 people, if nothing unexpected happens, Lan Bangxian would rather be stuck at level 989 for the rest of his life. After talking about this, Ye Bai asked curiously. By the way, what is your Uncle Ian's talent? To avoid misunderstanding, Ye Bai added. If you need to keep it secret, just pretend I didn't ask. When it comes to things like personal talent, some strong people will pay special attention to keeping it confidential. For example, Su Qingfeng. But a truly strong person doesn't need to keep secrets at all. Just like the most powerful nightmare, traceless, and happy. Most of those who truly understand the effects of the most powerful talent are already dead. The only one who didn't die was probably the most powerful demon. Everyone knows what this is. Xuemeng shook his head, indicating that it didn't matter. Lan Bangxian has been famous for 100 years, and the top management of both sides knows what his talent is. Uncle Ian's talent is called extraordinary talent. He has not mentioned the specific effects. There are 3 known effects. Xuemeng counted with his fingers. He has double eyes, pride, and heavenly blood, so don't underestimate Uncle Lan. He is very scary in close combat. He is one of the few beings who poses a threat to me. Is Lan Bangxian worthy of Xuemeng's high praise? Ye Bai was suddenly curious about another thing. Big Menzi, where is your talent? The conversation has ended here, so I didn't ask about Xuemeng's talent by the way, so I just ate this melon. Xuemeng didn't have any embarrassment when eating melon happened to him. It's nothing, it's just that the skills I release will be more powerful. A little. 100 million points. Xuemeng did not continue to explain, and Ye Bai did not ask further questions. The 2 drank for a while, and Xuemeng's lone wolf medal suddenly vibrated. Hey, there's a mission to go to the 5th abyss. Xuemeng stood up and prepared to leave. Ye Bai thought for a while and called out to Xuemeng. Yesterday, I caught 2 gophers of the 5th demon god. I heard that I have finishing the work for you. Anything else? Xuemeng looked at Ye Bai curiously. Shura is petty and wants to run away after offending Shura? The 5th demon god will definitely bleed heavily this time. If it's convenient, please help bring a message to the 5th devil. Ye Bai thought for a while and said. Let's just say that in 3 days, Shura will lead a team to the 9th abyss. Everyone will go and let him come and play. Maybe he will die after having fun. If having fun can lead to death, then the 5th demon god will probably die of fun. Xuemeng subconsciously felt something was wrong. Everyone went to the 9th abyss for team building, and now they have brought the 5th demon god in. Doesn't this make it more difficult for themselves? But since Shura said so, Xuemeng felt that Shura might be better at tricking the devil. Okay, got it? After saying that, Xuemeng, carrying Fang Tian's painted halberd, disappeared at the entrance of the wolf lair. The 5th abyss. Suddenly a crack opened in the sky, and a black shadow rushed out. The many demon war gods responsible for guarding were about to step forward to fight. Some monsters had sharp eyes and recognized the identity of the other party. He is the most powerful adopted son. Everyone, get out of the way. If he kills you, it will be in vain. Your Majesty the demon god, here is a guest. Many monsters dispersed in a hurry, leaving Xuemeng standing alone in front of the demon emperor's palace. Not long after, the 5th demon appeared. Xuemeng, aren't you afraid that I will kill you? Even if you kill me, you won't die. Xuemeng sighed and spread his hands. If you kill Uncle Lan, Uncle Huo, and Uncle Zhao, maybe, if any of my fathers gets angry, he will really get rid of you. If these words were heard by Xuemeng's elders, it would be another scene of filial piety. Holding Fang Tian's painted halberd, Xuemeng raised his eyebrows slightly. You killed me in vain. Besides, it's not like you haven't tried before. The 5th demon was silent. To kill Xuemeng, he really lacked the firepower. Xuemeng is the only one besides the strongest to be able to fight across levels at level 989. Tell me, what conspiracy does your human race have? The 5th devil said it very confidently. For a moment, I didn't even know who the villain was. I'll give you something to see how stingy you are. A fragment of void appeared in Xuemeng's palm and asked. This is the 4th fragment of void that Sun Li has touched. You don't need me to remind you what happened to the first 3 void fragments, right? The first 3 void fragments related to Sun Li. In the first piece, the group destroyed a demon army. The second piece left a piece of the abyss lost in the void and has not returned yet. In the third film, a demon god was indirectly killed. No other demon would be able to avoid this ghost. Only the 5th demon god likes the void fragments from Sun Li the most. If you want to die, you belong. The 5th demon made a bid on the spot. I'll give you 3 void fragments in exchange. Xuemeng shook his head, no, 10 pieces. Don't go too far Xuemeng, this thing probably can't kill me, 6 pieces at most. 8 slices. The 5th demon god was furious, then you might as well just go and grab it. Xuemeng held a sledgehammer in his left hand and Fang Tian painted a halberd in his right hand, his eyes flashing with light. Can it really be robbed? If you can really grab it, then I'm welcome. 5th demon god. Looking at the white clothes wandering outside the 5th abyss. The 5th devil snorted heavily. 8 pieces is 8 pieces. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 385. Wolf Den. After sending Xuemeng away, Ye Bai continued to drink alone. There is more than an hour left today, and he has nothing to do, so he might as well rest here. Don't look at it. Shura has done a lot of good things for everyone in the past month. Only Ye Bai knew how tired Shura was. In the past, When Master Ju was still around, Ye Bai could occasionally sleep peacefully in the classroom. Now that Master Ju has run away, accompanied by an unpredictable third master, Ye Bai has to keep his eyes open when sleeping. Sometimes, Ye Bai felt that it wasn't Ying San who was protecting him, but that he was staring at Ying San. Ye Bai drank the last drop of wine in the wine glass and was about to ask for a refill on Xuemeng's account. A handsome boy walked into the wolf's den. Suddenly, all the lights in the wolf den flashed, and with the sound of a special BGM, a bass came from the speakers. Tonight's consumption will be paid for by King Huo Tianwang, the most powerful god of war in the human race. Cheers. Ye Bai. Is Lao Huo so good? This was the first time that Ye Bai saw someone enter the wolf lair and bring their own BGM. You know, Xuemeng doesn't even have this kind of treatment. When Madman Huo was young, he had a lot of fun. It's like a little Easter egg. After all, it doesn't seem like a big deal for the oldest war god in the human race to come to the wolf lair and pay for everyone. With Madman Huo's financial resources, buying the entire wolf's nest was a huge mistake. Huo Tianyi had a dark face, obviously disdainful of Lao Huo's bad taste. Childish. When he passed by the bar, he specifically told Mendy, "You can spend money on the old guy's account, but you can't charge Shura's account." Although Huo Tianyi wore a lone wolf mask, Mendy knew his identity very well and nodded in agreement. Today's Huo Tianyi is known as Little Huo Tianwang among some insiders. They knew nothing about King Huo Tian's temper. Only those whose strength is similar to King Huo Tian dare to call him Madman Huo. In front of King Huo Tian, the aura of the others dropped by half a head. Hearing Huo Tianyi's words, Ye Bai couldn't help but roll his eyes. Look at this stingy energy. Guarding against leaf whites is like guarding against thieves? Are you looking down on people? Huo Tian walked straight towards Ye Bai and said straight to the point. I have a message for you. Huo Tianyi thought very clearly that with his own IQ, he could not defeat Shura in terms of deceiving people. Just be straightforward. Even if you are cheated, you won't be cheated too badly. Between 2 points, a straight line is the shortest. Huo Tian is the fastest when punching or using a gun. Therefore, he also found the fastest and most efficient way to make transactions with Shura. After listening, Ye Bai nodded slightly. Then how much are you going to give me? Huo Tianyi. I want to sell you information, so you should give me money. Listening to Huo Tianyi's explanation, Ye Bai dismissed it. If you want to sell it, have you asked me if I want to buy it? Sorry, I'm not interested in your news. Want me to hear from you? Yes, you need to pay more. Huo Tianyi was stunned. This was the first time he met such a domineering master. What Shura said makes sense. Ahem, don't you listen. Huo Tianyi hinted, it has something to do with the most powerful mark. Ye Bai was silent for a moment and then spoke again. Xiao Huo, you may not be very smart after all. Huo Tianyi was silent. Compared with normal people, his IQ is actually pretty good. It's just that he has a straight temper and a bad mouth. But compared with a person like Ye Bai, Huo Tianyi is really not good enough. Did you hear the news from Sun Li? Ye Bai looked indifferent and analyzed calmly. No matter what you know, Master Ju and third brother, they will definitely know it long before you do. Huo Tianyi couldn't refute this. Yang Ju must know. As for who the third brother Ye Bai is, Huo Tianyi doesn't know yet. But, it sounds awesome. Since they didn't choose to tell me, that means I don't need to know about it for the time being, even if it's related to the mark of the strongest. Ye Bai put down his wine glass and looked at Huo Tianyi, his expression was particularly sincere and his words were sincere. Although Master Ju is a historical inventor. But there's one thing you need to be clear about. It would be harmful to me to hide a piece of information. Even if it is of great benefit to Master Ju will not do it. In other words, it doesn't matter whether I know or not about these things that Master Ju deliberately didn't mention. Huo Tianyi couldn't refute this matter. Even if Shura knows that he has the most powerful mark on his body, so what? The days went on as usual. There won't be any difference. For a moment, Huo Tianyi even wavered as to whether the information in his hand was valuable. It has to be said that Ye Bai sees things far more clearly than he does. Ye Bai flicked the wine glass with his index finger and made a pleasant sound. So, Xiao Huo, you are now telling me information that is of no use to me. After knowing this, it may even increase my burden, and you still want me to spend money to buy it? Ye Bai sneered and said. If you want me to hear this news, you have to give me money. Argument completed. Huo Tianyi couldn't help but applaud. Wonderful and wonderful. What Shura said makes sense. If it were anyone else who dared to speak at such a long length in front of Huo Tianyi would punch him down early in the morning. You're the only one who can talk if you have a long mouth, right? See what you can do. However, this one cannot be won. The bullying in Huo Tianyi's bloodline was activated again. Then don't tell me the news. Huo Tianyi was also very open-minded and immediately changed the topic. Tell me about a topic you're sure to be interested in. Ye Bai nodded, I'd like to hear the details. As soon as Huo Tian opened his chips. I know where to go to investigate Ying San's identity, and I can help you get a piece of information back. Ye Bai was really concerned about this matter. How much? Huo Tianyi opened his mouth loudly, 200,000. Ye Bai nodded and made a small chop, 500. The two talked about it and finally settled the deal for 80,000 yuan. Ye Bai endured his heartache and asked tentatively, gold coins. The merits of the god of war. Huo Tian couldn't bear it anymore. 80,000 gold coins, was it worth Huo Tian's trip to the abyss? Okay, 80,000, just 80,000. Anyway, this money was originally earned from Huo Tianyi. Ye Baiwa was only half as distressed as usual. After the business was settled, Huo Tianyi didn't stay long and turned around to leave. Go slowly, don't send me away. Watching Huo Tianyi leave, the smile on Ye Bai's face disappeared little by little, and his expression became extremely solemn. He is not as calm as he appears. In fact, Huo Tianyi hinted to Ye Bai that the information in his hand was related to the mark of the strongest. At that time, Ye Bai had a bold idea in his heart. After taking a sip of boiled water to calm down his shock, Ye Bai quickly took out his trading secret realm pass, entered a familiar number, and contacted the other party. Hey, Mr. Lan, are you there? Lan Tiankai replied quickly. Here, I'm writing a guide. What time is it? Don't be too busy attacking Lan Lao. Something big happened. Ye Bai initiated a voice call. The moment it is connected, Ye Bai's voice trembled slightly. Lao Lan, I'm going to tell you something big, so don't be afraid. On the other side of the pass, the blue sky's voice sank. What's wrong? Xiaoao is out of control. It's not that big. Ye Bai spoke with a bit of bitterness and expressed his guess. The mark of the strongest may already be in my hands. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 386. Eternal Tower. The 15th floor. After hearing Shura's words, Lan Lao immediately replied. Where are you? Ye Bai said truthfully, Wolf's Nest. Stay where you are, I'll be right back. Putting away the trading secret realm pass, Mr. Lan walked to the deck. The 15th floor is a level of sailing and adventure. Ye Bai once dealt with mermaids here. Lan Lao's captain is Randy, known as the Immortal Law Enforcer. He is cursed and has an immortal existence. Even after spending a few hours together, Randy was full of awe and respect for this old man named Lan Tiankai. Seeing Mr. Lan coming, Randy bowed slightly and said respectfully, "Lao Lan, we will find the location of the sea monster soon. Keep the change, please." Lan Tiankai shook his head. "There's no time, plans have changed." With that said, Lan Tiankai walked out and stepped directly on the blue waves. "Lao Lan, be careful." Before Randy could scream, Lan Tiankai's figure disappeared. A few minutes later, someone cleared the 15th, 16th, and 17th floors with an SSS rating. Lan Tiankai left the Eternal Tower and returned to the Eternal Core City. In the Wolf's Den, Ye Bai waited and waited, but Lao Lan didn't come. During this period, he should feel that he needs to do something to calm down his mood. Ye Bai came to the bar and said to Mendy, "Anyone who doesn't want money will give me hundreds of millions." Mendy said seriously, "Fourth brother, Xiao Huo Tianwang has an explanation not to let Shura keep accounts." "Yes, I heard it." Ye Bai nodded, his tone slightly confused. "But what does not letting Shura keep accounts have to do with my fourth brother? Could it be that, you think I am Shura?" Ye Bai was a little excited. "Why do you accuse someone of innocence? I will sue you for slander." "She slandered me." Mendy. "Are you a Shura? Don't you have any idea?" But since the other party said so, Mendy felt that there seemed to be no problem. Mendy ordered people to take out the things that had been prepared long ago, and also moved 2 boxes of good wine. Just at this time, Lan Lao walked into the wolf den. His silver-white hair was particularly conspicuous. Many people recognized Lao Lao's identity and stood up to pay their respects. Ye Bai put away the 2 boxes of wine and ordered, "Lend me the key to Xuemeng's office and bring me some good tea." "No, go to my office." Lan Tiankai didn't talk nonsense and took Ye Bai directly into the deepest part. While walking, Mr. Lan introduced, "Confidentially, my office is better." "This is good," Ye Bai nodded slightly. He would like to have one done when he has time. "The annual rent is not cheap." Lan Lao's words dispelled Ye Bai's idea. Mr. Ian's office was filled with bookcases on both sides, with only a small desk and a bunch of folding chairs. Ye Bai didn't choose, just picked up a folding chair and sat opposite Lan Lao. After telling Mr. Lan his conjecture, Ye Bai added, "I don't know if my guess is right. This is simple." Lan Lao took out the trading secret realm pass and dialed a number. "Zhao Qian and Huo Tianyi have told us." Ye Bai. "Ginger is still spicy." Huo Tianyi, Zhao Qian, and Sun Li probably all know about this matter. On the other side, Zhao Qian also admitted generously, "Lao Lan, it's not that I don't want to talk about it. Mainly because my boss didn't give the order and Master Ju kept it secret, so it's really inconvenient for me. Understand?" Regarding the relationship between the older generation, Lan Tiankai knows more than Ye Bai. No matter who told Shura about this matter, it would be recorded in Yingju's account. After returning from the abyss of the strongest, Yingju will come to collect debts. Only Huo Tianyi is suitable to take this blame. After listening to Zhao Qian's words, Lan Tiankai hung up the call. In the office, the two fell into silence at the same time. The most powerful mark, essence, qi, shen. These 3 things, combined together, are the true mark of the strongest. Being ready to go is part of the mark of the strongest. Ye Bai thought about it and seemed to be able to accept this statement. He had checked a lot of information and found that there was no introduction about getting ready to go. It is indeed a bit outrageous that something like this appears in the novice gift package. The question is, when did Mark of the Strongest Chi come into my hands? Ye Bai couldn't remember any relevant details. If you can't figure it out, don't think about it. Lan Tiankai is very open-minded. Giving you the most powerful mark is Xiaoao's choice. The mark of the most powerful god is still in Xiaoao's hands, and that should be what Yingzhu needs most. Speaking of this, Ye Bai was suddenly curious about something. Lao Lan, you see we are so familiar. Lan Tian was all happy. You call meeting someone wearing a 3-layer human skin mask and chatting familiar. Ye Bai nodded shamelessly. Yes, most people wear 5 layers. Lan Tiankai. It's impossible for an 800-year-old grandfather to fix it? Okay, keep talking. Ye Bai organized his language and asked. A month ago, when I first awakened my talent, the most powerful person should have given me the mark of the most powerful qi during that time. Lan Tiankai nodded, yes. This is the carefree style. If Xiaoao feels that something needs to be done, he will do it immediately. The human race needs you, but you don't necessarily need the human race. This is the first level of relationship. Ye Bai nodded, he understood this. When the most powerful person wants to do something, the human race cannot stop the most powerful person. Understood, Ye Bai nodded. Meng Xiang voted in favor, Wilhan abstained, Xiaoao was absent. The matter was settled. After all, there are still mostly good people in this world. Ye Bai asked tentatively. Not to mention the human race, even if the demon race is added to the combined strength of the two races, it cannot stop the strongest. However, this does not prevent us from treating him as a good person first. Ye Bai also understands this. When the most powerful person uses his veto power, it is really a veto. Found it, the original words of the nightmare were. Lan Lao found a file from the filing cabinet. Originally. Lan Tiankai explained. If you were selfish, you could really do it with Ye Bai's methods. Lan Tiankai smiled helplessly. After speaking, Lan Tiankai answered Ye Bai's question. Just go to class, don't read novels, just study hard. However, there is a Juye mixed in, which seems a bit nondescript. Since you asked today, I'll look through the original meeting minutes. In other words, why would you treat me so well without any assessment of me? You've been reading online articles in class recently, right? The second level, the various measures for the birth of the most powerful seeds, which is what you call so good for you, are strategies formulated by the most powerful ones. Nightmare said seriously. Lan Tiankai continued to explain. Along with Lan Tiankai's description, Ye Bai seemed to see a sunny boy in front of him. He decided against all the opinions and decided on one thing, which would determine the attitude and measures of the human race towards the strongest seeds in the future. If I am a person with evil intentions, like the villain in the novel, wouldn't it mean that the stronger I am, the worse the human race will suffer? Actually, it was mainly what Menma and Yingzhu meant. Wilhen didn't express any objection, and Xiaoao didn't care at all. Actually, many powerful people have expressed your concerns. Humanity really needs a fourth strongest one. Lan Tiankai smiled and said helplessly, the protest is invalid. I remember there was quite a big commotion at that time. This is what the nightmare said. If Ye Bai wants to grow up, he can completely abandon the human race, go straight to level 1000, and then find a way to leave, without having to worry about the dispute between the human race and the demon race. We really don't know what kind of people the future strongest seeds will be. There is no good or bad in this world without reason. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 387. Big Brother is indeed a big brother. Ye Bai couldn't help but sigh. Even if I have never met him, my eldest brother can only be found in the dark history. The eldest brother's image of a warm man is also deeply rooted in the hearts of the people, always pushing the world in the direction of good. On the other hand, a certain Yingzhu would stab someone with a knife at every turn. He was very irritable and unfriendly and would criticize them by name. Lan Tiankai was a little curious. What did you say? Nothing, cough. Ye Bai looked at the file in Lao Ian's hand and asked curiously. That's what Nightmare said, Xueju, I mean, where is Yingju? When the shadow was created, Xueju had already disappeared in the abyss of the strongest. In fact, missing is just a very official statement. Judging from the reactions of everyone Ye Bai came into contact with, Xueju was really dead. Most of the top experts knew that Yingju wanted to resurrect Xueju. This also means that Nightmare, Wu Hen, and Xiaoyao, the three strongest men in the human race, have all acquiesced to this fact. Xueju is dead. Thinking of this, even if Ye Bai felt heavy, he had to face the facts. The general direction of dealing with the most powerful seeds was set by Nightmare. The real executor, the one who protects the most powerful seeds, is Master Ju. If you want it to be implemented, it depends on Master Ju's attitude. Lan Tiankai looked a little embarrassed, put down the file, and coughed twice. There is no record of Yingju's statement in the file. Lan Lao changed the topic. However, as a person who attended the conference, I can provide some memories without guaranteeing their authenticity. You also know that I am 800 years old, so it is normal for me to remember things wrongly. Ye Bai. Mr. Lan, there is no need to emphasize that you are 800 years old. You are now more than 600 years older than your father Lan Bangxian. However, Ye Bai was very curious and listened attentively to what Lan Lao wanted to say. Yingju said that he can protect the path of the most powerful seeds, and he is also willing to treat each other with the greatest kindness. But Ye Bai knows very well that if there are two words but, you don't need to listen to the previous content, it is all nonsense. Lan Tiankai emphasized. However, if the strongest seed has evil intentions or is unwilling to bear the name of the strongest, Yingju will be responsible for recovering the strongest mark. Hearing this, Ye Bai nodded slightly, which was reasonable. If you blindly regard the other person as a good person without any precautions, that's not kindness, that's stupidity. The human race can be in today's situation, and it is naturally good for the most powerful seeds. On the other hand, on the way to protect the path of the strongest, the human race has enough backup to deal with any situation. The terror of the most powerful seeds is that they are invincible at the same level, and fighting across levels seems to be commonplace. But facing the Tongtian god of war, Ye Bai now narrowly escaped death. What's more, above the Tongtian god of war, there is also the most powerful person of the current generation. Among the human race, the person who gave Ye Bai the greatest sense of oppression was not Yingju or King Huo Tian, but the Taoist who lived in the 99-story tower. Only as a powerful seed can you understand how terrifying the power of a powerful person will be when you grow to level 1000. Now that Ye Bai has all his cards out, it is not impossible to kill the 9th level god of war. Where is Xiaoyao? If you want to kill a growing powerful seed, Xiaoyao doesn't even need to speak. In the final analysis, the first generation of the most powerful Nightmare is indispensable for the human race to be so calm. His strength and kindness set the tone for the general direction of the entire human race, and this has lasted for hundreds of years. Thinking of this, Ye Bai couldn't help but become active. Old Lan, I want to meet the most powerful Nightmare. Is it convenient to arrange it? Ye Bai was afraid that he was not sincere enough, so he took the initiative to add. I can pay for it. If Shura is willing to pay for something, it only means that he really wants to do it. Nightmares are not something you can see just because you want to see them. Lan Tiankai smiled bitterly and shook his head. You can only see Nightmare if Nightmare wants to see you. By the way, there's one more thing. Mr. Lan pushed up his glasses, considered it and said. You're going to the 9th abyss in 2 days, right? Right. When you come back from the abyss, I have something to tell you in detail, related to Wu Hen. Lan Lao didn't sell out and told everything he knew. Wu Hen was seriously injured in his battle with the most powerful demon, and his current condition is not good. When you are around Wuhan, my father will deliberately block your sight. Have you noticed? Yabai nodded, that's true. Yabai talked to Wuhan and learned swordsmanship with each other, but he never really met each other. Lan Bangxian would always block Yabai's sight at the right time. Lan Lao said slowly. As far as I know, Xuemeng and my father have been looking for a solution to Wuhan's injury. When you come back from the abyss, if you can be gifted with 3 awakenings, you might be able to help. Lao Lan is right. Before Yabai could express his position, a certain eye came online on the spot. Whenever it comes to talent awakening, Danyan always strikes hard. Conditions for 3rd awakening, level 400, wash your eyes with some worthless materials for 7 days. Of these 2 conditions, the former is easier to say. Yabai will be able to reach level 400 in a while. Just now, the Xiong Seed Talent Awakening Consumable Subsidy Plan, temporary, was unanimously approved at an emergency meeting. Now he is level 322. Mr. Lan immersed himself in writing something, signed several names in succession, pressed his fingerprints, and authenticated his pupils and voice prints. Wait a moment. Okay, absolutely okay. If I just said that the subsidy ratio is not enough, can I still increase the ratio? 700,000 God of War merits, 60% of which is not subsidized, which is equivalent to Yabai having 420,000 more God of War merits. Saved Yabai a lot of money. It's okay not to wash this broken eye. Subsidy 40% of the cost of talent awakening. Is this ratio okay? When it comes to making money, Yabai is professional. Yabai nodded quickly. The 40% reimbursement ratio meant 280,000 God of War merits. There is no subsidy plan, but Mr. Lan has approved one for him now. He is familiar with various welfare policies and can even recite them backwards and forwards. 40% subsidy, with a daily application limit of 100,000 God of War merits. The latter one is a bit troublesome. Lan Lao thought for a while and asked proactively. Your eyes are made of gold? He really didn't know what Lan Lao was talking about. Yabai was dumbfounded. Rounding off, we lost 100 million this time. That, Mr. Lan. After doing all this, Lan Lao looked up at Yabai and took out a fresh notice. Yabai took a look at the so-called not valuable materials, a piece of God of War merit worth 100,000. Yes. 7 days, that is, 700,000 God of War meritorious deeds, to wash away a bad eye. I know exactly how much money I can receive every month. Awakening the strongest seed talent, is there any subsidy? Lao Lan, I have checked all subsidies and allowances before, but I have never heard of this one. If I had known this, I should not have regretted it. Yabai. Looking at the plan that the ink was not yet dry on, Yabai had only one question in his mind. Yabai hesitated and said. The quota limit can be cancelled under special circumstances, and a report will be required afterwards. However, Yabai still has a question. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 388. 40% is 40%. Yabai sighed and said nothing more. Lan Lao is one of the rare people who can suppress Yabai's presence with his aura. Yabai calculated in his heart. You can wash your eyes first. After reaching level 400, you can wash them for just 7 days and awaken 3 times. Like. Now that the matter of the most powerful mark was clear, Yabai had nothing else to do with Lan Lao and stood up to leave. Yabai still needs to find a way to solve the problem of endless karmic fire. He is now equipped with an armor that continuously restores blood, and at the same time, he continues to receive wood and water type treatments, so there is no problem with his blood volume. It burns 600,000 drops of blood every second, it's trivial. Even if Yabai forgets to care for himself, he still has the power to hold the world in his hands and he will not die. After leaving Lan Lao's office, Ye Bai returned directly to his own exclusive space. In a dedicated space. In front of Ye Bai, there were copper eggs on the ground and a rooster that had lost a lot of weight. Huo Tianyi could use his brain to figure out what happened. Fool. Ye Bai pointed to the crime scene and asked. What happened? Master Fool looked innocent and asked blankly. What does it have to do with me? This acting skill, this performance, on a certain condiment scoring platform, can get the highest 2.1 points. She even added fuel to the fire. Is there a possibility that the golden eggs laid by your rooster are fake and will fade? I think you are the fifth demon who eats arsenic, you are impatient to live. Ye Bai drew out the Heavenly King's sword and prepared to teach Master Fool how to behave. Unacceptable. Oh. The fool was calm, with a sneer on his lips. Are you sure you can defeat me, the 9th level god of war? As a forging master who was invited by Wuhan, a fool would indeed not endanger Shura's life. But it would be very easy for Shura to take the initiative to spar and teach the other party a lesson. Forget it, peace brings wealth. Ye Bai put the Heavenly King's sword back and brought out a bowl of water. Do you know what this is? Master Fool's eyes lit up and he exclaimed. Lucky 40-leaf clover soaked in water. Ye Bai guessed right, she was indeed a good judge of things. If this thing is forged into equipment, it can at least increase your luck by 5 points. Master Fool looked at Ye Bai and hesitated for a moment. Obviously, a guy with a negative luck value has more needs for this bowl of water than ordinary people. And this bowl of water is in the hands of an extremely cunning person who is particularly good at peeling off the skin, scraping the bones and cleaning the marrow, and will not waste even the ashes. The Fool Master reluctantly said. Make a price. Let me think about it. Ye Bai tentatively proposed conditions. Tell me your true identity. The Fool Master fell into silence and finally shook his head. Even if I don't tell you, you will know sooner or later. As you now know, it's not good for anyone. After thinking about it, Master Fool added a few words. First, my hands are not stained with human blood, and I will not deliberately target demons. Second, to a certain extent, Nightmare the strongest is kind to me. And, I'm strong. Ye Bai raised his eyebrows, is it true? I don't believe it. As strong as the strongest. Fool Master. No. Ye Bai continued to ask, Great Demon God. Master Fool still shook his head, I can't beat him either. Then you're still a dish. Ye Bai rolled his eyes. How strong is this? The idiot master held it in for a long time and then popped out a sentence. I'm better than you. This time, it was Ye Bai's turn to be speechless. Is the 9th level god of war so great that he can do whatever he wants? Sorry, the 9th level god of war can really do whatever he wants. In fact, among the two clans' combat power, the 9th level god of war is already considered the top combat power. Even Su Qingfeng has a great reputation on the Abyss battlefield. When Ye Bai's strength improves further, sooner or later he will challenge the 9th level god of war head-on. He must find Su Qingfeng to vent his anger. No matter how strong you are, you can't help me kill the enemy. Ye Bai waved his hand, indicating that the other party would make a sincere offer and he promised not to cheat anyone. I don't know many things. I'm best at building equipment. The Fool Master said sincerely. The recast force of nature is SSS level equipment, and the armor designed for you that has not yet been released is also SSS level equipment. The most I can do is build these two pieces of SSS level equipment for you. The pattern needs to be opened. Ye Bai took Master Fool and sat down at the stone table so that he could gather the wool easily. Look, you can use your professional knowledge to help me solve some minor troubles. For example, Ye Bai stretched out a hand, pointed at the ring on his hand and said, Look, You can only wear one ring on one hand, it's such a waste. Can you design a piece of equipment that allows me to carry 100 rings? Fool Master. The stuck bug is not caused by you. Yabai still refused to give up. Even if 100 is too much, 5 rings on one hand is quite reasonable. Master Fool rolled his eyes and said helplessly. If you want to wear 5 rings, my suggestion is to have 5 hands. That's more convenient. Then how am I different from a monster? Yabai argued hard and patiently guided. I still have the baggage of being an idol, and my image is also very important. Look at the 3 most powerful people. Why is the most powerful Wuhan the most popular? So handsome. According to Master Fool's idea, Yabai wants to wear 3 helmets and 10 rings, which requires 3 heads and 10 arms. Isn't that a monster? In the end, the Fool Master, who was forced to open up the situation, had to compromise. I can try to help you design a finger tiger type of equipment, relying on the characteristics of the equipment itself to offset the mutual influence of the rings. But the price is also high. If you wear 10 rings at the same time, the durability will be depleted very quickly. No problem. Yabai nodded and agreed to Master Fool's plan. Problems that can be solved with money are not problems. If this kind of finger tiger is really designed, it will benefit not only Yabai, but the entire human army. The most important thing is that Yabai can make a lot of money by building Zhihu. These investments are regarded as preliminary production costs. With this bowl of water, Yabai took full control of the negotiation and continued to make demands. Also, can you create some extremely damaged equipment? Extreme damage. Master Fool was stunned and immediately understood what Yabai wanted to do, and his face turned cold. This equipment is for Sun Li, right? Relying on things must turn against each other. F-level equipment is equivalent to SS-level equipment in the hands of Sun Li. If there were more rubbish equipment, wouldn't it be possible to buy SSS-level equipment for free? Yabai's wishful thinking was very loud. He could sell these things to Sun Li with Zhao Qian's help. Even if it is the wool of the one favored by misfortune, it must be gathered up when it is time. Yabai is professional when it comes to shearing wool. The Fool Master said coldly. If this is the last condition, yes. Make a deal. This bowl of water belongs to Master Fool. After receiving the water, Master Fool drank it all in one gulp. He even looked at the bowl eagerly, wanting to finish it all in one go. Okay, it's time for the cash cow, let's go, let's go. Yabai shouted, leading the Fool Master, who had just washed away his bad luck, to the money tree. Lady first. Yabai was very gentlemanly and asked the mat to be patted first. The Fool Master stretched out his hand and shook the money tree. Clang. A complete copper coin fell to the ground. It was like a big slap on Master Fool's face. She was about to leave angrily, but she held back her anger and picked up the copper coins. Even feeding dogs is not cheap, Shura. Look at your potential. Yabai sneered at the behavior of the Fool Master. He stepped forward, confidently, stretched out his hand. Let me shake a big one for you. Crash. In full view of everyone, a pile of coins fell from the shaken money tree. Looking at the harvest coins, Yabai's smile slowly solidified. 896 copper coins. 104 more coins can be exchanged for 1 silver coin. The clown is actually myself. The people on the stage were as lonely as snow. The devil in the audience is smiling like a flower. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 389. Looking at the copper coins lying on the ground, Yabai could only admit that he was unlucky. This has nothing to do with Master Fool, the main thing is that Sun Li is too cruel. Taking Sun Li through the barrier, even if there was water soaked in the lucky 40-leaf clover, the influence of the other party could not be completely eliminated. After putting away the copper coins, Ye Bai quickly regained his composure and started checking the accounts. The money tree has been placed in the exclusive space for 24 hours. Most people have come to shake it once, and some people have even shaken it twice. Jack Hui, who is in charge of accounting, reported. Boss, the money tree has earned a total of 68,000 gold coins, and there are also a lot of deductions for working hours. After all, Werewolf Jack flipped through the ledger for a long time, and finally reported a number. Our weekly expenditure is 842 gold coins, no, 657, wait, I'll do the math again. Looking at Jack with a frown on his face, Ye Bai glanced at the account book, which contained a mess. It's not Jack's fault, he really has too many things to take care of now. In Ye Bai's exclusive space, there are currently miners, dwarves, werewolves, vampires, fishermen. There are also some special characters, Rolling Stone, Blue, Captain Baker. There are too many things and tasks that need to be arranged by Jack. He now has hundreds of monsters and monsters under his command, none of whom are easy to get rid of. Werewolves are not very good at using their brains. Being able to calculate a rough account is already Jack's limit. Ye Bai felt pressure from finances. He was a good settler himself, but it was too laborious to focus on such trivial matters. We have to find someone else to settle the accounts. Putting the account book aside, Ye Bai asked about the daily work in the exclusive space. After roughly understanding it, he got up and headed to the secret trading realm. In the secret trading area, the Goblin Boy has been waiting for a long time. Fourth brother, you've had a hard time on this trip. Ye Bai sighed, shook his head, and said nothing. Leading Sun Li through the 29th floor was a matter of course for Ye Bai. But this stamina is really a bit too much. The Goblin brother set up a brazier on the ground. There is a brazier here. You can step on it to remove bad luck. Ye Bai stepped over the brazier, not bothering to chat with the other party, and went straight to the topic. I will ask Master Fool to build a batch of junk equipment and sell it to you later, and you will sell it to Sun Li, okay. The Goblin Boy was not surprised by Shura's operation and nodded in agreement. Sun Li has gone to the abyss to perform a mission. I can make the decision for him. As for the price of equipment, the Goblin Boy explained. The person in your exclusive space created the equipment that Sun Li has used before, and the effect is indeed comparable to SSS level equipment. But since they are at the limit of damage, they are all disposable items, so the price cannot be too high. Ye Bai nodded, indicating that he understood. If it was sustainable SSS level equipment, even if Ye Bai offered 1 million God of War merit, it wouldn't be too much. But it was just a one-time prop, and its value was immediately greatly reduced. The Goblin Boy tentatively quoted a price. A 100,000 God of War meritorious service. Make a deal. Ye Bai knew very well that he was a good hand when it came to gathering wool. But when it comes to making money, Zhao's money is infinitely higher than his own. The other party offered the price as the owner of the pavilion of all things, so it was naturally the most appropriate price. After finalizing the order, Ye Bai purchased another batch of materials for eyewash. One material is worth 100,000 God of War merit, 40% reimbursement, payment is 60,000, let's get 3 materials first. Ye Bai swiped his card and paid 180,000 God of War merits in exchange for the items he needed. Great. Ye Bai has 1.11 million God of War merit in his hand, 310,000 is Huo Tianyi's material money, 800,000 belongs to Ye Bai himself, he spent 180,000, and has 620,000 left. He is almost as poor as Shui Meng. The bad luck must have come from Sun Li. Yabai could only comfort himself that he had lost money and avoided disaster. When the goods were delivered to Yabai, they had even been prepared. This saves Yabai the trouble of processing it himself. The goblin boy explained. A little additional service, as a bonus for Wanwu Pavilion's biggest customer recently. Yabai accepted the materials and told the goblin brother about the problem he was facing. There are too many people in the exclusive space and we can't manage them. The accounting is a mess. After hearing Shura's words, Zhao Qian pondered for a moment. Fourth brother, I can help you make an appointment with a goblin butler, a real goblin. But, the price of employment must be negotiated in person. Zhao Qian explained. Goblins have weird tempers and are also very greedy for money. In the past, in the Eternal Core City, the largest banks and treasury were controlled by the goblins. Although their combat power is not strong, they are the richest people in the Eternal Core City. So smart. Yabai couldn't help but be a little curious. Then what? He has been wandering around the Eternal Core City for a month and has found no trace of the existence of the goblins. In just a few hundred years, what made the goblins go from being the richest to being unknown and disappearing in the Eternal Core City? The story behind this must be heartwarming. Then, Zhao Qian thought for a while and told Yabai what happened next. I'm coming to Eternal Core City. Yabai. Damn it, let him pretend. At this moment, Yabai understood Yingxi's thoughts very well. What more goblin butler is there? Zhao Qian, aren't you the best butler? We have to find a way to lure Zhao Qian into the shadows. Leaving the trading secret realm, Yabai returned to Blue Star. Good morning, third master. Good morning, fourth master. The strong man covered in bones retreated into Yabai's shadow. Summer camp life begins again. Huo Tianyi was not next door and had already gone to the abyss to look for information related to Ying San. As for Xiaoju, he followed Yabai, holding the little pig in his arms, and everything he saw was novel. During the break, Yabai found Feng Dong. Dongzi, something big happened. What's the big deal? Feng Dong was stunned and looked at Yabai, a little surprised. Brother Bai, do you also have a nephew who is the god of war? Let's go and play, I'm not as embarrassing a nephew as Su Qingfeng. Feng Dong was curious, what important matter did Brother Bai know about, but he didn't. Yabai lowered his voice and said. It's like this. I met Huo Tianyi this morning. He said that there was a competition recently and it was related to the Nightmare Legion. Justing. Feng Dong took out a communicator, contacted his nephew, and received a reply quickly. It does happen, but what does it have to do with Huo Tianyi? The Nightmare Legion is full of talents. Everyone is eager to sign up for the competition, and there are simply not enough places. I heard from Xiao Huo that the people over at Shadow are ready to pay him to compete in a martial arts competition. This is a big deal. After getting Yabai's consent, Feng Dong told his nephew Su Qingfeng, the deputy leader of the Nightmare Legion, about the incident. What? Su Qingfeng, who was holding the communicator, trembled and his hair stood on end. The people in the shadows don't respect martial ethics, and they actually asked King Xiao Huo to be a foreign aide. If this happens, the Nightmare Legion will suffer a big loss. Huo Tianwang's strength is rare among his peers. What's more important is that many people in the Nightmare Legion are disciples and grandsons of King Huo Tian. When they meet in the actual competition, their morale will be weakened. Just find a way to solve it. An idea flashed in Su Qingfeng's mind. If Shadow can spend money to hire foreign aid, so can they. Then rich? Who can have the money of the Nightmare Legion? Su Qingfeng replied domineeringly. No matter how much money Shadow pays, our Nightmare Legion will pay double. By the way, uncle, by the way, you can ask Yabai if he is willing to fight for the Nightmare Legion. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 390. Let me fight for the Nightmare Legion. Yabai looked hesitant and said with some embarrassment. I am a C-level talented student from a small summer camp, but I have no virtue and no ability to fight for the Nightmare Army. Besides, who is the opponent of the Nightmare Legion in the competition, the Traceless Legion? Feng Dong chatted with his nephew for a few more words and asked about the general situation. Feng Dong said enthusiastically. Brother Bai, I've figured this out. Yabai put on a posture of listening attentively. There is a competition between the Shadow and the Nightmare Legion, and it is said that a large amount of funds is involved. Feng Dong thought for a while and said with the limit of his imagination. Brother Bai, it's probably more money than you can spend in your lifetime. Really, I don't believe it. Yabai didn't believe it either. The money shared between Shadow and Nightmare Legion was 90% of Xuemeng's income. The income here has been harvested by Yabai. In other words, the bulk of it had already fallen into Yabai's bag, and the two families just shared a little bit of leftovers. Of course, even this scrap is the lifelong pursuit of many strong people. Yabai made a shocked sound. Is it so powerful? Yes, it's that powerful. Feng Dongyu became more and more excited as he talked, and kept making gestures with his right hand in the air. Because the funds involved are too huge, this competition is taken very seriously. My nephew said that Huo Tianyi must fight on behalf of the Nightmare Legion at any cost. Brother Bai, you are also invited to join the battle of the warrior class. This. Just as Yabai Gong was about to take the opportunity to gather wool, Ying San's voice rang in his ears. Fourth Master, there is something that Ninth Master asked me to remind you when necessary before I leave. Yabai nodded slightly, indicating to the other party to continue. Ying San repeated. Master Ju said that Shura has a good reputation for making money, so let Yabai take care of himself. Yabai. Gan. Yabai was so smart that he immediately understood the implication of this sentence. Now all the strong men of the human race know that Shura is good at pulling out wool and peeling away skin and cramps. That is Shura's specialty. If Yabai showed the same wool-picking trait as Shura, his true identity would be easily recognized. In other words, Yabai needs to maintain a character, who is not greedy for money. Don't let him take advantage of such a good opportunity. It's better to just kill him. But if he plunders the wool, Yabai is in danger of exposing his identity. Whichever is the lesser of two evils. This wool, it doesn't matter if you don't pluck it. The corners of Yabai's mouth twitched twice, and he endured the heartache and refused. Dongzi, it's not that I don't want to help the Nightmare Army. You also know my situation. My master, Fourth Master, is a strong man in the shadows. Respecting teachers is the principle of my life, Yabai. Without master's permission, I cannot participate in this competition. Besides, if I help the Nightmare Legion fight shadows, wouldn't that mean I'm deceiving my master and destroying my ancestors? After saying that, Yabai sighed heavily, feeling extremely heavy. In order to maintain his personality, he had to bite the bullet and refuse. I've always been indifferent to fame and fortune, and I don't care about appearance fees or anything like that. The main reason is that my teacher can't pass this test. Otherwise, I would also like to go to the martial arts arena to see the world and compete with masters from all walks of life. Understand, understand. Feng Dong nodded repeatedly and was persuaded by Yabai, and did not continue to persuade Yabai to participate in the competition. Feng Dong also felt it was a pity and said regretfully. My nephew said that the minimum appearance fee for this battle is 500 God of War merits. Forget it, don't think about these useless things. With that said, Feng Dong sent Yabai's reply to Su Qingfeng, and the matter came to an end. There are actually 500. Yabai took a deep breath and felt that his health bar had dropped a lot out of thin air, and he had suffered heavy injuries. I lost 500 God of War merits and 500 million gold coins. Because of the persona of being indifferent to fame and fortune, Ye Bai almost felt heartbroken and couldn't breathe. The other side of the transmitter. Su Qingfeng frowned slightly after receiving Feng Dong's reply. Ye Bai, is Ying Xi's apprentice. Because of Shadow 4, you can't fight for the Nightmare Legion. This Ye Bai is a bit interesting. Su Qingfeng casually clicked on a document and began to check Ye Bai's file. The more he gets to know Ye Bai, the more Su Qingfeng feels that this young man has a bright future. I gave a copy of Walking on the Wind to my friend Zhao Lin, but I haven't received a cent of it, and you still refuse to accept the money. Su Qingfeng nodded slowly. Windwalker's skill book was not cheap. It cost tens of millions of yuan in Jackie Chan coins. Before coming to the summer camp, Ye Bai was so generous to his friends, which shows his character. Feng Dong also spoke highly of Ye Bai, saying that Ye Bai was indifferent to fame and wealth, was a sophisticated man, and acted like a general. In addition, Su Qingfeng himself also had a good first impression of Ye Bai. However, Su Qingfeng did not draw any arbitrary conclusions. The file says that Lu Qingjian had a lot of contact with Ye Bai. Without saying anything, Su Qingfeng immediately contacted Lu Qingjian and asked him about matters related to Ye Bai. You mean Ye Bai? On the other side of the communicator, Lu Qingjian said truthfully. I have been inspecting this person for nearly a month. Unfortunately, he already has a teacher, otherwise I would definitely accept him as my disciple. Ye Bai is a man of small wisdom and big plans. He is unfazed by favors and humiliations, and he is generous with his wealth. Lu Qingjian's character is well known among many legions. Ye Bai can get Lu Qingjian's approval, that's really a frog on top of a arhat, the best. After getting to know each other, Su Qingfeng's evaluation of Ye Bai was full of praise. The more he looked at Ye Bai, the more he liked him. What a talent! Obviously, in this era of supreme power, Ye Bai will definitely become the right-hand man and capable general of Shura, the supreme power. Su Qingfeng made up his mind. We must let Ye Bai take the place of the Nightmare Legion in this competition. If his master doesn't agree, I'll talk to his master directly. Without further ado, Su Qingfeng set off immediately to the Eternal Forest to look for Shadow 4. Eternal Forest. Ying Si was also a little surprised by the visit of the 9th level God of War. He took Su Qingfeng to a tea pavilion and asked him to sit down. Deputy Commander Su, are you here for the martial arts competition? Yes and no. Su Qingfeng chuckled and said. May I ask Master Yingxi if he has a disciple named Ye Bai? Ying's expression remained unchanged, and he nodded slowly. Giving him an appearance fee would feel like a personal insult to him, just like using money to beat his own teacher. He would never do such a thing. Also, I know that Ye Bai is a person who values righteousness and cares little about petty gains. He is a casual person. Ye Bai didn't have to be in a dilemma. When it comes to Shura, it's a bit big of a deal. Shadow received 5,000 God of War merits. If Su Qingfeng says the wrong thing, Ying 4 and Ying 2 will attack at the same time to subdue the other party first. Ying Si smiled bitterly for a moment, not knowing what to say. Now that it's all said and done, I have no reason to refuse. Deputy Captain Su, you have such good eyesight. If I'm not afraid of making you angry, the Nightmare Legion is Ye Bai's best choice for the future, and it's also the place where he can grow the fastest. Without giving Ying Si a chance to speak, Su Qingfeng continued. Master Ying Si, Ye Bai cannot stay under the shadow's protection all his life. A dark shadow quietly came to the side of 2 9th level war gods. Everyone has a bright future. By getting the Nightmare Legion involved with Ye Bai, is it because he thinks he has too much money? I would like to invite Ye Bai as a seed player to compete on behalf of the Nightmare Legion. Fighting on behalf of the Nightmare Legion had only advantages and no disadvantages for Ye Bai. Only Su Qingfeng can think of it. Fortunately Su Qingfeng thought of it. Yang Si smiled and could only nod. Right. Su Qingfeng said frankly, his expression extremely sincere. Let Ye Bai replace the Nightmare Army to compete with the Shadows. This plan. Of course, to subdue Su Qingfeng, Yang Si alone is enough. Yang Iryi is just an insurance policy. After accepting 5,000 God of War merits, Yang Si patted Su Qingfeng on the shoulder and praised. There are so many flaws in this matter that Yang Si doesn't even know how to speak. Su Qingfeng came with full sincerity and took great care of Ye Bai's feelings, so he naturally thought of a solution. The Nightmare Legion expressed its sincerity and allowed Ye Bai to fight for him. Really? At the same time, he tapped his fingers twice. I've already asked Ye Bai, and he said he couldn't agree without the teacher's consent, so I took the liberty of visiting him. How about this? The Nightmare Legion gives 5,000 God of War merits to Shadow, and Ye Bai personally fights for the Nightmare Legion. How about that? While talking and laughing, Yang Si had already invited Yang Er Ye over. Yang Si smiled and asked, are you here for Ye Bai?